Hello everyone and welcome back to Cute Crochet. My name is Sri and in today's video I am going to show you how to make this cute little Christmas tree amigurumis. These are super easy to make and perfect for beginners. They make the most adorable keychains and Christmas tree ornaments and they're the perfect gift for your friends and family this holiday season. I will show you the entire process step by step. The written pattern along with the timestamps will be in the descriptions. To make these, you will need some green yarn. Here I have used two different shades of green. You will need some brown for the trunk, white for the garland and yellow for the star. I have used a tiny bit of black yarn for the smile and two black beads for the eyes. Finally, you will need a bunch of colorful scrap yarn for the ornaments. I used some light pink yarn specifically for the blush. You will need some pillow fluff to stuff the amigurumis. To turn these into keychains, you will need some blank key rings. For tools, I have used two different sizes crochet hook, 2.5 and 3 millimeters, a yarn needle, something to use as a stitch marker, and a pair of scissors. So let's get started. I am going to start with this green yarn. This is a 4-ply yarn and with it I am going to use a 3 millimeter crochet hook, which is a couple of sizes smaller than what is recommended for this yarn. It's actually recommended to use a 4 millimeter hook with this. We do this so that our stitches are nice and tight and none of the stuffing shows through. We are going to start by making a magic circle. To do that, wrap your yarn up and over your finger like so, forming a cross in the front. Then insert your hook underneath the cross. Take the yarn from the other side and pull through. Then again yarn over and pull through the loop on your hook. Now remove this loop from your finger and this is the magic circle that we are going to work into. Start by making a chain 1. This chain 1 does not count as a stitch. Then we are going to make 6 single crochets into the magic circle. To make a single crochet, insert your hook into the magic circle and pull up a loop. You will have 2 loops on your hook like this. Yarn over and pull through the 2 loops and that finishes 1 single crochet. Let's do it again. Insert your hook into the magic circle and pull up a loop. 2 loops on your hook. Yarn over and pull through 2. Now we are going to make 4 more single crochets like this for a total of 6 single crochets. After you finished making 6 single crochets, you can pull on this tail to cinch the magic circle completely closed, and this brings us to the end of round 1. At the end of round 1, we have 6 single crochets. This amigurumi is going to be worked in continuous rounds, so we need to mark the last stitch of the round. For that, I am using a paper clip here, but you can use anything. You can use a yarn in a different color, or you can also get proper stitch markers. For round 2, we are going to make 1 single crochet into each stitch all the way around. So start by going into that first stitch and making a single crochet into it. If that first stitch is a bit tight, you can loosen it with your crochet hook like I did. Then make 1 single crochet into each of the remaining 5 stitches all the way around. Here I am at the last stitch of the round. Remove the stitch marker and place 1 single crochet into that stitch as well. Mark the new last stitch and this brings us to the end of round 2. You will again have 6 single crochets. At this point, your work might have started to curl in the wrong direction like this, like a bowl. You can turn it right side out by pushing on the other side using the back of your yarn needle. Now you can see the top point of the Christmas tree. For round 3, we are going to make increased stitches in every alternate stitch. Start by making 1 single crochet into the first stitch. In the next stitch, we are going to make our increased stitch An increase stitch is simply 2 single crochets in the same stitch. Start by making 1 single crochet first. Then make 1 more single crochet into that same stitch. This is our increase stitch. In the next stitch, again make 1 single crochet. In the next stitch, again increase 2 single crochets into 1 stitch. Repeat the sequence one more time. 1 single crochet into the next stitch. Then remove the stitch marker and make 2 single crochets into the last stitch of the round. Go ahead and mark the new last stitch of the round. At the end of round 3, you will have 9 single crochets. For round 4, make 1 single crochet into the first 2 stitches. Then into the third stitch, increase. Again, make 1 single crochet into the next 2 stitches. In the third stitch, increase. Repeat this sequence one more time. Make 1 single crochet into the next 2 stitches. Then remove the stitch marker and increase into the last stitch of the round. At the end of round 4, you will have 12 single crochets. Go ahead and mark the new last stitch of the round. For round 5, we are going to be working into the back loops only. If you look at each of the stitches carefully, they have a front loop and a back loop. We are only going to go under the back loop like so. Into the back loops of every stitch, make 1 single crochet into each stitch all the way around. When you work in the back loops, the front loops get pushed forward like so. We are going to work the white garland in these loops later on. Here I am at the end of round 5. You will have 12 single crochets all the way around. Replace your stitch marker. For round 6, start by making 1 single crochet into the first 3 stitches. Then in the fourth stitch, increase. We are going to repeat this sequence 2 more times, 3 single crochets and increase. Here I am increasing at the last stitch of the round. You can note that you are going to be increasing in the last stitch of every increased round. Go ahead and replace your stitch marker. At the end of round 6, you will have 15 single crochets. For round 7, start by making 1 single crochet into the first 4 stitches. Then into the 5th stitch, increase. We are going to repeat the sequence 2 more times. Here I am increasing at the last stitch of the round. At the end of round 7, you will have 18 single crochets. Round 8 is going to be exactly like round 5. We are going to work in the back loops only and make 1 single crochet into each stitch all the way around. At the end of round 8, you will have 18 single crochets. Now that you have done 2 rounds in the back loops, you will be able to see these ridges clearly. This is where we are going to make our white garland. For round 9, start by making 1 single crochet into the first 5 stitches. Then in the 6th stitch, increase. We are going to repeat this sequence 2 more times. Here I'm at the end of round 9. At the end of round 9, you will have 21 single crochets. For round 10, make 1 single crochet into the first 6 stitches. Then in the 7th stitch, increase. We are going to repeat this sequence 2 more times. Here I'm at the end of round 10. At the end of round 10, you will have 24 single crochets. This is going to be the basic size of our tree. Now we are going to do the underside of the tree and the stem. Round 11, we are going to work in the back loops and we are going to start decreasing. Start by making 1 single crochet into the first 2 stitches of the round, making sure to work in the back loops. Over the next 2 stitches, we are going to decrease. For that, go into the back loop of the next stitch like you normally would and pull up a loop. When you have 2 loops on your hook, do not complete the stitch. Instead, go into the back loop of the next stitch and pull up a loop. With 3 loops on your hook, yarn over and pull through all 3 loops at the same time. And this is a decrease stitch. We are going to repeat this sequence 5 more times. Make 1 single crochet into the next 2 stitches, making sure to work in the back loops. Then into the next 2 stitches, decrease. Repeat this sequence 4 more times all the way around. Here I am at the end of round 11. After round 11, your stitch count will drop to 18. So this is what you should have. Your piece should be divided into 3 sections like so. If you want to add safety eyes to your piece to add a face like so, this would be the time to do this. I'm going to show you exactly where to place the eyes. From the second ridge that is visible here from the front loops, count one row down and place the eye into any one of the stitches. Then from that eye, count 3 stitches in between. I like to count the holes in between the eyes. 1, 2, 3. Place the eye into the 4th hole. You can also embroider the mouth here if you want to. I'm going to glue on some beads for the eyes later on and embroider the mouth after I stuff the piece. That's also an option. For round 12, start by making one single crochet into the first stitch. Then into the next 2 stitches, decrease. Go under both loop of the stitches instead of the back loop like we did previously. We are going to repeat this sequence 5 more times. Single crochet, then decrease. Here into the last 2 stitches of the round, we are going to decrease and we are also going to change our color to brown for the stem. For that, start a decrease stitch like you normally would. When you have 3 loops on your crochet hook, don't yarn over with your green yarn like you normally would. Instead, bring in your brown yarn and put it on your crochet hook like so. Pull that yarn instead of the green yarn through the 3 loops and this will change your color to brown. Now you can drop the green yarn and pick up the brown yarn and start working with it. This brings us to the end of round 12. You will have 12 single crochets. For round 13, we are going to work in the front loops only. Till now, for some rounds, we have worked in the back loops. Now, we are going to go under the front loop like so to make our stitches. In the front loops, make one single crochet into each stitch all the way around. And I'm also going to work over the tails at the back to weave them in. Here I am at the end of round 13. You can now go ahead and cut the green yarn. It has been woven in enough. At the end of round 13, you will have 12 single crochets. At this point, we are going to stuff the amigurumi. If it's difficult to push the stuffing in using your fingers, you can use something else like the back of your crochet hook or your scissors like so. Make sure not to overstuff the tree so that it maintains its conical shape and also so that the base of the tree is relatively flat. Mark the last stitch of round 13 before continuing on to round 14. For round 14, we are simply going to make one single crochet into each stitch all the way around. I am placing a finger on top of the stuffing to keep it out of the way as I work. Here I am at the end of round 14. I am going to add a bit more stuffing for the stem area. Round 15 is our last round where we close up the amigurumi. We are going to work in the back loops only, and I am going to decrease into every stitch all the way around. The reason for working in the back loops here is to give the amigurumi a flat base so that it's able to stand up on its own. Here I am at the end of round 15. In the end, you will have 6 stitches all the way around. Cut the excess yarn and fasten off, leaving a long enough tail for sewing. Then to close up the hole, I am going to weave this tail in and out through the front loops of all of the stitches of this round. Then when you pull on this tail, it should close up the hole nicely. You can squish the amigurumi a little bit to redistribute the stuffing so that the base part of the tray is a bit flat and there is some more stuffing in the stem. With the help of a yarn needle, bring that yarn tail in through the center and out through anywhere of the amigurumi. Pull it until the base is nice and flat like so. This will make your amigurumi be able to stand up on its own. Sure enough, it does. Next, I am going to make the white garland. As you can see, it's going to wrap all the way around the Christmas tree. For this, we are going to use a technique called the reverse single crochet, and we are going to work in the front loops that we left while working in the back loops. First, go ahead and locate the last front loop that is visible. It should be fairly obvious because it's going to be raised like so. This is where we are going to start working from. We are going to work while holding the piece upside down. It might be a bit tricky to get under these loops. So what I like to do is hook the loop first and then turn my crochet hook to get under it. This is much simpler to do. Once again, hook it first and then turn the crochet hook like so. Normally when we crochet, for right-handed crochets we go anti-clockwise, but for reverse single crochets we are going to go in the opposite direction, which is clockwise. Once we reach the end of the first round, we directly jump onto the next round of front loops. Everything will be much clearer once we start. Bring in the white yarn and wrap it on the crochet hook like so. Then go under the first front loop like I showed before and make a slip stitch to join the white color. Then start by making a single crochet in that same first loop. The next single crochet is going to be in the previous front loop. For that, go into the stitch like I showed you by twisting the hook. Then pull up a loop. The loops will overlap, but you will have two loops on your hook. Yarn over and pull through the two loops carefully. And this is our first reverse single crochet. Again, go into the next loop and pull up a loop. Two loops on your hook. Yarn over and pull through two. I will continue to make reverse single crochets like this all the way around the first round of front loops. I will meet back up with you once I reach the end of this round. Here I have gone all the way around and I am almost at the end of the round. I am going to make one last reverse single crochet into this last loop. Then I am going to jump right over to the next round of front loops and make a reverse single crochet in that first loop of that round. Then I will continue making reverse single crochets in every loop of this round. I will finish going all the way around, then jump over to the next round and go all the way around again. Then I will meet back up with you. Here I am almost up to the top of the Christmas tree. I will make one last reverse single crochet in that last loop. Then fasten off, leaving a long enough tail for weaving in. Thread the yarn tail on a yarn needle, then go down the top of the tree and out through the same hole as the brown yarn tail of the stem. This will make sure that your garland wraps all the way up. Now I will repeat the same thing with this yarn tail. Thread it on your yarn needle. Then go in under the first stitch and out through the same hole as the previous two yarn tails. Then tie a knot using all three yarn tails. Cut the excess yarn and hide the knot into the body by pushing it in using the back of your yarn needle. Next, I am going to glue on some black beads for the eyes using some fabric glue. I'm going to place them in between rounds 8 and 9 at the same spots that I pointed out previously. The two eyes are going to be 3 stitches apart. Do not use glue when making an amigurumi for a child. These eyes can come off and become choking hazards. For them, always use either safety eyes or embroider them on. To embroider the eyes, you can use French knots. I'm going to show you how to do that when I do the ornaments. Next, I'm going to embroider a smile. For that, I have separated one ply from my 4 ply black yarn. Come in through the back of the amigurumi and out in between the two eyes. Don't pull the yarn all the way through. Then make a straight across stitch in between the two eyes that are 2 stitches apart. Then tag the stitch down in the middle to form the shape of a smile. Then come out the back of the amigurumi through the same hole that you came in. You can fiddle around a bit with the shape of your embroidery until you're happy with it. Then to secure the embroidery, tie a knot using these two yarn tails. Then cut the excess yarn and hide the knot into the body using the back of your yarn needle. Next, I am going to embroider some ornaments using colorful yarn and the French knot technique. You can also use this technique for the eyes. Come in through the back of the amigurumi and out where you want your ornament to be. Don't pull the yarn all the way through. Then, to make the French knot, wrap the base of your yarn a couple of times on your yarn needle and then go back down to the same hole and then come out where you want your next ornament of the same color to be. This will create this nice circular knot. I am going to make another French knot at this spot before moving on to the next spot where I want the same ornament color. Repeat the same thing with a bunch of colorful yarn. Here I have made a bunch of different color ornaments all the way around the tree. I am going to show you what to do when you are finished using one color yarn. Once you make the last French knot of that color, come out through the same hole that you came in. Then you can tie a knot and secure the embroidery the same way as before. Notice that I have strategically placed 2 pink ornaments on either side of the face to look like blush. Last but not least, I am going to make a star to go on top of the tree. For that, I am using a crochet hook that is one size smaller, which is 2.5 millimeters, and a yellow yarn. Start by making a magic circle. Then chain 2. Slip stitch into the second chain from the hook. Then slip stitch into the magic circle. This makes one point of the star. We are going to repeat this 4 more times. Chain 2. Slip stitch into the second chain from the hook. Then slip stitch into the magic circle. Make 5 points like this in total. After making the 5 points, fasten off, leaving a long enough tail for sewing on the star. Then you can pull on this tail of the magic circle to cinch the center of the star closed. You can pinch the points of the star to define it a bit more. Next, we are going to sew the star on top of the tree. For that, first put one of the yarn tails on your yarn needle. Then go down to the top of the tree and out to the back of the amigurumi. I am going in between rounds 1 and 2. Then put the other yarn tail on your needle and repeat the same thing. This time I am going to go into the other side of the round. Come out through the same hole as the previous yarn tail. Then tie a knot to secure the embroidery in the same way as before. This amigurumi you can use as an ornament. For that you'll need to add a loop for hanging, or here I'm sewing on a keychain. And that's it. I hope you guys liked this video. Thanks so much for watching. Bye.